Quick, graph y equals the square root of the quantity 2x minus 4 by hand 2 different ways. This is part of the family of functions series. You will need graph paper, or you can download this PDF and print it, and press pause as needed anytime during the video. Decide what the parent function is and its shape. It's the square root or radical x function, and its shape is half a parabola going sideways. Keep this in your back of your mind as we're drawing the graph. We need to identify the parameters. What we mean by that are values in the expression that affect the graph, and there are 2 of them in this equation. Now, how do they affect the graph? Well, the minus 4 affects the y value, shifts them all the points down 4. But the 2 is inside the parentheses or inside the radical function, and that is a horizontal compression of the reciprocal 2, which is a half. That affects the x values. But what do we consider first? Well, we suggest plotting the vertex first, and it's going to be 0 for the x coordinate because the 1/2 times 0 is still 0. That's what affects the x values. But the y value will be minus 4 because all points are pulled down 4. So let's go ahead and plot 0, -4 as our vertex. We're going to do the radical dance and plot all points relative to that vertex. So instead of right 1 up 1, which we would normally do, it's going to be right 1/2 up 1 because that 1/2 affects the x values. Instead of right 4 up 2 on the radical dance, it's going to be right 2 up 2. Again, the half affects that 4. Instead of right 9 up 3, it's going to be right 9/2 up 3. And instead of right 16 up 4, it's going to be right 8 up 4. Connect the points to make it look like a square root curve. The vertex is at 0, -4. And we compare it to the parent function. It has been shifted down and it goes up a bit faster. Using a table, these are the 4 points we normally use for the square root function. The 2 times affects the x values inside the radical, and it does that inversely, which means we multiply the x values by 1/2, the reciprocal of 2. So 0 times 1/2 is 0, but 1 times 1/2 is 1/2. And so we'll go ahead and finish, get 2 and 9/2 for the x values. The minus 4 affects the y values, so we need to subtract 4 from each y value. So starting with this y value, 0 minus 4 is -4. And so we'll plot 0, -4. We suggest that you finish the table, plot the points, press pause to do so, and resume when you're ready. One minus 4 is -3, so 1/2 -3 is that point. 2 minus 4 is -2, so plot the point 2, -2. 3 minus 4 is -1 over 4.5, down 1. Connect the points, make it like a radical curve, and usually we compare it to the parent function. Now you try one. Graph y equals the square root of the quantity 1/2 x plus 2. Use either method or both for the practice. Press pause to do this and resume when you're finished to check your answer. And here's your answer in green along with the table.